But let's start with some introductions, and then we'll throw it to the floor, right? So I'm going to start with you because you're sitting next to me, and you've travelled the furthest. Who are you, and where did the name Slapped Ham come from?
My name's Callan. So I run a channel called Slapped Ham. I wish I had a better story about the name of our channel, but it was actually just a whiteboard session, brainstorming session. We just had random words all up on a board, and we linked the two, and it's a little bit titillating as well, and it gets people going. So yeah, we just decided to call it Slapped Ham. We're in the horror niche, sort of paranormal, unsolved mysteries, a little bit of true crime. Yeah.
Have you ever seen a ghost?
Not personally, no. No.
No one's visited you in one of your sessions or anything like that?
No, we get this a lot. People think, always think that, maybe I've had some kind of encounter or something like that. No, we sort of mediate, I guess, and just present the stuff for people to decide on their own. So, yeah. Fantastic. No, I've never seen a ghost.
Well, you are the first. So what would you define the genre? Horror?
Yeah, it's unusual. But yeah, horror, paranormal, unsolved mysteries, bit of true crime as well.
You are the first horror creator I've ever met in over 10 years. So that's
yeah.
Great. Now, Mikey, we've met many times over the past 10 years, but please, for the benefit here, tell us, you got a very interesting story.
Hi guys, my name is Mikey Bustos. I run 3 YouTube channels, but my 2 main ones are a Filipino comedy channel where I do Filipino parodies. For example, if Freddie Mercury were Filipino and I do parodies of Freddie Mercury songs, that kind of thing. And then I have another channel which is about ants. It's an edutainment channel about ant colonies that live in ant farms in my home. And I narrate their real-life stories in like a Game of Thrones type thing. And then I have a lifestyle channel, which used to be a daily vlog, but we upload now 5 times a week.
And I have got a picture of you in the Philippines at a fan fest with Angel's Wings coming in.
Yes. Yes, yeah. I'm also a performer, a singer. So we did YouTube Fan Fest yeah. one time. Big Angel Wings. It was really, really fun.
So how long have you been going for?
I started doing YouTube in 2009. So it was really like the early Wild Wild West days of YouTube. So I've been doing it for quite a while.
Fantastic. So sitting next to you, Denise, as I've said this before, we fell in love with you last year, about this time last year. But to give everyone a background, who is Super Cat K? What do you do? Tell us about your channels and stuff.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Denise. On the internet, I go by Supercat K. I am a full-time live streamer in Singapore, and I live stream primarily on Twitch. I play a lot of games, mainly first-person shooter games, but all sorts. I've played a game where you're a piece of bread, and you have to make it into a toaster. Very fun, highly encouraged, not sponsored, just saying. But I also do a lot of music on streams as well, and we've kind of snowballed into talking about important topics like mental health or, using our platform to kind of give back to different organizations as well. So, yeah.
There's something that, and again, this is just from an interview we did previously where, is it after, I don't think it's after every single live stream you do, but you actually send out feedback forms, don't you?
Yeah, I do it once in a while. I think especially when I was first starting to build the community, I really wanted to be able to understand what the viewers were enjoying and what they wanted to see more. So I would just make really simple Google forms with like, what do you enjoy? Do you want to see more of this? Why? And that helped me with, really understanding what type of content we would want to put out more. And that has kind of brought us to this point today.
It's so simple but so genius, and I've never heard anyone else doing that before. So, and that's when I say we fell in love with Denise. That's the reason. Darnie, tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are, what you do. You've got a great name in this part of the world.
Hi, my name is Darnie. I'm from Singapore, but I've been living in Poland for 10 years. I just came back last year. I'm a 2-time international beatboxing champion. Back then when I was in Poland in 2016, that's when I started becoming an influencer, a content creator. I was like the first Asian in Poland to have a viral video that got onto the Polish government TV, and it was really cool because I can see like, wow, it's the Asian guy in a European country. So I was actually saying in the video like how Polish sounds like beatboxing, and then I used Polish language to beatbox, and it was really funny. And from that time onwards, like I used beatboxing as a tool to connect with people in a very different way, not only through music but through like things that are creative, that has narrative, and then it evolved along the times, and algorithm also was changing, so we had to change along with the algorithm. And yeah, then after that, like I started to focus more on the music side. So now my content is evolving towards like using beatboxing to become music. So I produce music with using my voice. So I record my sounds and I just put it and record it into a studio, and I arrange, I compose, and I produce the songs with my mouth. And yeah, and then recently for 1.5 years I also dabbled into the Web3 space of NFT, but it's a little bit different because how I perceive NFT is basically it's not to make money. Is actually to build a culture that evolve the culture of the music space and the artistry space, and to make them more involved and have a more intimate connection with what they love. So yeah, and now just continue to do what I do.
Right, I'm going to ask you all there's one more question, and then we're going to throw it to Jim and the floor. So everyone, you've got to be ready with your questions. How do you all measure success? Let's start with Dani and work back this way. How do you measure success? Is it views? Is it sponsorship? Is it engagement? What are your metrics?
Measuring success, I think it's very subjective. On a personal level, it's basically your milestones. What do you want to achieve in this year? What do you want to achieve next year? How do you foresee yourself? How do you project yourself in the next 2 years? So basically, that's on a personal level how you measure the success. Like for example, like next year I want to make an EP, 5 songs, and I want to do this and that. Have a concert, performing, have shows, have plans. Brand deals is a byproduct. Brand deals is byproduct of your success. So basically, when you are doing your videos, and if you get viral, then all these brand deals and stuff, they are like the byproduct of your success. So basically, I think success in terms boils down to the core of your genuine passion, your interest, and your milestones. And if you fulfill that, and if you succeed in that, then everything else can follow. Yeah. So I think that's it.
Denise, how would you measure success?
I think he said it super well, and I'm totally aligned with that as well. I'm not going to dabble too much into the personal milestones, but I think that's definitely something everyone should have. The live streaming space is a really different one. I know how everyone's talking about short form and shorts and TikToks, and I fully agree. But live streaming is the total opposite. It's 5 to 8 hour long streams nonstop. And people stay in those really long streams. And until today, I don't know why. So my big metric of success for me personally is the kind of engagement that I have with the viewers on a day-to-day level. And how I measure that is through little things. I think the Google Forms was one of them. But for example, every single day we have viewers from all around the world greeting each other, good morning or good night, because you could be living on the other side of the world, whether they are participating in some of the online and offline events that we do run as a community. So a lot of my metrics of success do revolve around, I would say, the health of the community. How are you feeling? How's life for you right now? COVID-19 was a really difficult time for all of us. Let's talk about that. But of course, like what Dani said, and I think all of us will agree, naturally things like concurrent viewership or brand engagements, these are all things to help us allow us to do this on a day-to-day basis. So I would say not to focus on that, but like what Donnie said, if you have your goals and if you have your values set, everything kind of does follow through.
Nice. Mikey?
I think when I first started as a content creator, I used to measure success by, if I could create stuff that I'm passionate about and earn from it, that to me was success. It's still that way for me, but now that I'm reaching kind of the twilight age,
You're not even 30.
I've been doing it for a while. 2009,
you're
that's
not
a
even
long time to
30.
do content. I think now my metric for success is, can this be sustainable and can I live life still? So now, for example, I'm building a home with my partner. I want to settle down and enjoy life. Like, for most of the past 10 years, it was just a hustle for views and earning. And now at my age, at 41, I'm like, okay, I want to live life now. Like, I want to hang out with my pets and plant corn and like eat in a like we're building our house to be sustainable. I just want to settle down. What does it look like when a content creator retires? And that's my constant quest now at this point in my life. Like, how can I be a content creator but still be sustainable and live life? Like, I didn't want to die and be like, wow, all I did my whole life was just chase views. I didn't get to enjoy what, living life.
You could film that. No, maybe not.
Yeah, so now my formula for success incorporates sustainability and enjoying life every day.
But hang on. So you're in the twilight.
That's what they say, right?
You were 2 years old.
I feel like I'm
You
in
were
the twilight.
2 years old when I left school. So what does that mean?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just getting, my energy level is kind of dropping. It's not the same as it used to be.
So we've talked about community, we've talked about engagement, talked about sustainability. It's an unfair question for you to go forth.
Premium click-through rates and average view duration, that sort of stuff is the metrics we aim for. But yeah, I mean, echoing similar sentiments, community engagement I think is a big one. Knowing our audience is resonating with the stuff we're making, because after all, they're the ones that keep coming back and bringing in the views. So yeah, I'd say community engagement is probably...
Engagement is key, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a beatboxer, we have a gamer, we have a horror lover, and an ant farmer. I have never uttered that sentence ever in my life, and I will probably never utter it again. What questions do you have for our wonderful creators?
If you have a question, raise your hand and I'll come find you right there. Okay. I want to know how you do brand safety with ghosts, but that's not we can get to that later. Go ahead.
So, something we've heard of a lot today is getting viewers to buy products, whether it's physical or digital. How are you implementing that? Also, for Mickey, there's a really cool ant shop in Singapore called Just Ants, in case you have any time.
Can you repeat that? The speakers are pointed this way, so we don't have...
I'll try and repeat it and let me know if I get it right. So, how are you thinking about selling products, physical and digital, right? And then, what's the name of the ant? Here, he's going to show it to me. All right, there's a store in Singapore called
Just Ants.
Just Ants. It's a
Yes.
really cool ant shop. So we'll
Yeah,
start with that.
The question was, how do you sell ant products?
No, just I think in general, how do you think about selling physical and digital
absolutely,
products?
yeah.
That's
Okay,
for
yeah.
everybody, but for you, it's the ant shop. It's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ant shop.
So Ants Canada is also an e-commerce store. I highly recommend that creators build a business outside of their platform. Whether it be, and if possible, not just merch, but actual products that people can use. I remember when I started Ants Canada, the channel, I was building ant farms in my parents' basement just out of cement and glass. And, really spending hours making these products and shipping them to my subscribers who would order them. Now it's grown into an international business. We manufacture in China, we have our own warehouse in Utah, and we have a call center in the Philippines. It's really taken over my life now. And so if all you creators out there, if you really are serious about making it sustainable, and it's something you want to do for your whole life, I do recommend building a company somehow, open a restaurant, do something that's just outside of YouTube, so you have that cushioning. I'm also a farmer now, and we farmers like to plant different crops at different times, just so we don't depend on one crop. You can have like a really diverse crop and have lots of food forever. And I liken that to being a creator too. That's why I have several channels of different kinds, different ages. I'm starting a new bird channel, which already has 20,000 subscribers and no videos yet. You know, it's I do recommend starting a business and not just doing social media.
Great question.
Yeah, and I definitely want to hook up with Just Ants. He's really cool. I've seen his stuff.
So if the last session was sponsored by Twitter, by TikTok, this session is sponsored by Just Ants, clearly.
So what about the rest of the panel? What do you think about creating products and selling them? How do you think about that, and what works for your audience? And also, how are you thinking about, which Mikey brings up, which I think is really important, life after being an amazing creator and maybe building a company or other things that will sustain you in what you're passionate about? I mean, I don't know. Mikey, you want to take that? I mean, Callan, you want to take that on first?
I mean, we just do a bit of merch. We've not. It's kind of hard in our space. You know what I mean? Some people say like you could sell ghost hunting products and strange stuff like that. We've thought about it, but we've never really explored it. We do T-shirts and apparel and stuff like that, and we work with some local artists to do really fun like designs of cryptids and different ghosts and famous different mythological creatures and stuff like that. So. But yeah, our genre is a bit of a tricky one for products.
Yeah, Denise, what about you? I mean, live streaming can be, wow, that can be tough. That's a lot of time spent, and I've talked with a number of live streamers that just burning out. I mean, how do you think about that and where you go with it, and how you build products to support?
Yeah, so we've actually been running our own merchandise for the last 2 years. I would think that as creators, I think that's always a good place to start. I think personally for me, I've always had an interest in fashion, and this was like a really kind of a nice way to enter into the space and to be like, okay, what would I like? So fun fact, I'm wearing my own socks, for example, you know, and like when I made socks, everyone was like, why are you making socks? People usually make shirts. But I was like, everyone wears socks. Everyone needs socks. So this was how we started, and I think at the very beginning, I will be honest, it wasn't necessarily earning us big bucks or anything like that, but it was a really good way for us to, you know, dip our feet in the water, you know, see what the audience likes. So that's one thing that we've been doing. That's been really great. And another area that I'm looking to explore more, which is not as sustainable as products. I do hope I get there one day. I think that's the dream. But right now we do a lot of events. I think especially with the COVID restrictions lifted in Singapore, we've got a lot more opportunity to run in-person events, you know, bringing the community together, bringing the Singapore live streaming scene together. And some of these events are, you know, free to attend. Some of them are ticketed. And hopefully, the more we do them, the more common they become. And maybe that's one way that we could, you know, have a life outside of our social media platforms. So, yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, on the sock side, Hank Green has a great sock line, too. I talked to him at VidCon on stage. I was like, socks? He's like, yeah, it's amazing.
It's the future.
Socks are good. Socks are the future for most people. And then, Darnie, how about you? What are you thinking about in this world in sustainability and product?
Products-wise, I haven't like tapped onto my followers to buy any merch or product, but because I'm very in touch with the beatboxing community, which is over 10 million strong in the world right now. It's thriving. It's a thriving culture. So I'm an advocate for culture. So because I feel that culture kind of like bypasses all types of social hierarchies and everything. For example, when you watch the World Cup, if you are rich or you are poor, when the same team scores the goal, you all cheer. So that's the thing why I love beatboxing, because beatbox is like an art form like, you know, people all love, you know. And for products, I like to do something I always. I'm like outlier. I like to do different things. So what I do is like I create the beatboxer cards, like digital collectibles beatboxer cards with their beatboxing. So each beatboxer which is on a world champion stage they have this beatbox cards and their beatbox routine in the card, like this as a digital collectible NFT for the beatboxing community to purchase. And then after that, when they collect to a certain amount, and they will unlock certain tier levels that will entitle them to lifetime benefits for the World Championship, or a raffle for free ticket or the free hotel stay. So like in my startup business for this kind of a project, will help to enable like more communities other than the beatboxing to elevate the culture. So yeah, I think that's very sustainable, and I think culture is the new meta. Yep.
I think we're going to see. I mean, Mikey is the singer and you is the beatboxer, and we're talking about collaborations. Hey?
Yeah, collaborations.
We should collab. Actually, one of my followers is a fan of you, and said you should collab. So it's funny you mentioned that.
Oh yeah, maybe like are you gonna
Her
be
name
here?
is Danny. In case.
Oh,
Huh?
Dan. Are you gonna be here through the weekend?
Oh yeah, let's definitely do it.
Let's definitely
Cool.
do something.
Do I get it part of the NFT? That's how it works. So Dani, I'm going to ask you now, and if the answer's no, the answer's no, because I didn't check this with you before. But it would be if at some stage during this session you wanted to demonstrate how amazing you are at beatboxing.
I beatbox and he sings something.
No, I'm a little hoarse. We had a few drinks last night.
Hey, Jasper,
too.
You go ahead.
remember last year where I almost got us shut down by asking him that?
I know, and that's what I was saying. So I haven't.
Now we
asked-
can
anyway,
do it.
Any more questions?
More questions out here. Wait, up, running to the back. I know you gave me the eye. I knew you had a question. Go ahead.
Hey everyone, my name is Elvin. So there's been a lot of mention on several mainstream social media platforms today, but nothing on Discord. So my question is, what do you think is the future of Discord? How brands can leverage on community-based platform, and how to build a strong community? Thanks.
Good question. What do we think about Discord?
I think Discord, it's a very, very good platform to connect as a community, especially in the Web3 space. But on beatboxing, it's really cool because people because there's voice. There is like there's channels to have dialogue, and for beatboxing is channels to have a jam session, to communicate. And then, as we see the user base for Discord is increasing exponentially throughout the past 2 years, I can actually foresee that brands will come on board Discord and start promoting, and Discord will definitely be changing its features in the next coming years. And it's going to be another platform for creators, influencers to tap on and leverage on. I think Denise is she's a esports gamer, and she knows that there's a trend. There's a trend coming. Are you an esports gamer, right?
I'm not professional.
Oh, yeah. She's a gamer. She's a gamer, live streamer. Yeah, but she knows.
Good question.
Is anybody else using Discord?
Yes,
Yeah, what do you
I
think?
actually want to talk a little bit about that, because Discord is actually a huge platform, especially with live streamers. It's something that we have in accompaniment with Twitch. So it's our place for people to hang out when we're not live. And that is equally as important, because it's a little bit different as compared to, let's say, on Instagram. You don't have to post all the time, but you can do it like a IG story, and your viewers and your followers still kind of get a little glimpse of your life. But after you've streamed for 6 hours, you probably want to take a little break. You just want to chill a little bit. The Discord is the perfect place for people to do that. And when I was talking about, how my viewers say good morning and good night, they actually do all of that in the Discord. And with just how much the community has grown, we've started to do a lot more activities. So I think I've mentioned this before to Jasper, but for example, one of the things that we like to do now is we give the community a chance to run their own Discord events. So they can host little game nights with themselves. We provide them the platform, the people to do it together with. If they want to do more specific topics, they can do that as well. And this gives them kind of like a third space, a place outside of work and outside of family to make more friends and to explore more interests and passions that they have. So Regardless of whatever platform you're on, I really think Discord is one to look out for because the way to connect, the way to engage with your community is just so strong.
So I've been using a lot of Discord lately. Last year I never used Discord at all, but this year I've been using a lot. It's because one thing is I started to game a lot more. So every time I game, I will use a Discord, and also the Web3 space is building, and with my startup going up, we need to have a Discord to retain the community's interests. And this is the very nice platform to stay up to date and to have let the community thrive within themselves. And then as what Denise said, they can come up with different activities in their own channels, and people actually come and they participate. And now you have these third-party APIs that even allow you to monetize on Discord with tips and also donations. And all these are very new still. It's I think a few years old, but it's going to be in the mainstream and be more prevalent in the next few years.
Yeah, as a creator, it's a great way to connect with your biggest fans, your super fans, and not only allow them to connect with each other, because it is about building communities of people that share interests, and they typically like each other most of the times, but it's also a great way to get feedback. I'm sure you went from the Google Forms to Discord to get questions there. I will say, and Jasper knows this, I tried really hard to get someone from Discord to come to CreatorWorld this year. Unfortunately, it is Thanksgiving today, and my friends over there are like, yeah, I think we're going to stay home. I'm like, but you have to tell the people you know at Discord, come next year.
Tell them to open an office in Singapore where everyone is based.
Yeah, they at least 2 years ago, they're like, yeah, we're not going to go international yet. We're kind of I live in San Francisco, so I see them a bit. But I'm actually curious, Callan and Mikey, do you guys use Discord and what you guys think if you do? Or how do you work with your communities sort of off-platform?
Yeah, we have a Discord. It's just a great place for our audience to get to know each other. They'll have chats amongst themselves, and you'll see in the comments on YouTube, they know each other, and then they spur on more comments. So yeah, it's just a great place to foster that. And we also get a fair bit of user-generated content, so people can submit content on Discord as well, which is a great method. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe there's an ant keeping Discord and an Ants Canada Discord run mostly by the followers. I do know there's a lot of buzz about Discord and how creators can use it. Personally, I'm very unfamiliar still, but we do want to dive in eventually.
Well, I'd say communities in general. We had Alex Dweck from NAS talk about NAS.io launching globally tomorrow. And that is a community platform that they built. In many ways, their vision is to kind of be more creator-first community, a little bit different from Discord. I think it's a good idea. We'll see how it goes, but Discord's great. It can be hard to figure out how to get started on it, but it is an awesome platform.
It is complex, isn't it? There's so many features on there.
I think what we're going to do, though, is we're going to get this section of this session and send the video to Discord in the States and make them sponsor this next year.
Oh, yeah, we're giving it to Kenny. We're giving it to Kenny right away. Do you want to see other questions? You got a question?
Yeah, no, of course.
Anybody
Absolutely.
else? It's your time. Put your hand up and I'll run to you.
There we
go. We've
so
got
far.
two. One here and then I'll get back over there.
So I think this question is more for Denise. I think as a primary platform, streaming is notoriously hard to grow an audience. So what do you think is the best practice that you did that helped you succeed?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I think there's quite a lot of misconception that live streaming is really easy, but it's actually, I feel, one of the hardest platforms to grow, just because of how much time and energy it takes out of you. Personally, for me, I think consistency was really one of the key factors. So you don't have to stream every single day for 5 hours. Even if you did maybe every Mondays and Wednesdays at night at 8 p.m., for example. And as you keep building that consistency, your viewers remember it. For myself, if I were to go up to one of my viewers and ask them, hey, when do I stream? They'll tell you every Tuesdays, every Thursdays, and every Sundays. Sometimes on the Fridays as well, but most of the times Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays. And that's because I've been doing that for a year and a half. I've set that schedule from way early on. A lot of the things that you see that are successful in big creators, I'm not a big creator compared to everyone else here, but like amongst like the bigger creators is that they've done these things every single day consistently without fail, whether it's posting a content that they enjoy or greeting good morning in the Discord. I did that every day for 9 months to myself. Nobody said good morning back to me until 9 months later. Then 5 people said good morning and I cried that day because it was just amazing. So back to live streaming, I think consistency is really important. Stream things that you enjoy. That's really, really important as well. But also keep like a little eye out for trending games and trending things that happen. One of the things that I started playing back when I first started 2 years ago was like Among Us. That was huge in the US, and that also opened up a big opportunity for collaborations with other gamers and streamers. And I don't play Among Us anymore, but that was definitely something that I'm glad I did back then because it was just so hyped. So consistency, ensuring that you have some quality in your content, and feedback's always really important too.
And did you live stream the Toast game?
Oh yeah, I did. I was so angry, but it was very fun. They were very happy that I was angry because I'm rarely an angry person. But I just couldn't get the bread to flip into the toaster, So yeah.
You live stream the one that is the guy is in that pot.
Yes.
And then he's like
getting over it.
he needs to like
Yes,
jump
he needs
over
to
it.
flip. Yeah,
Is this
there's
like-
a bunch of these games.
This is now Toast to Earn.
Yes.
I think we have another question back here, Jasper. You can
Yeah,
talk
thank
about
you.
toast all day long if you want. One of you guys had a question? Go ahead.
Hi, Denise, big fan. Congrats on hitting Radiant in Valorant.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, this one's for everyone, but I'm also I don't want to say it, particularly interested in the older gentleman's answers, but each one of you has had a unique journey building your community, building your following. If you had to do it all over again, what's one thing that you would do differently? What's one thing you would do that you think would be better?
Who's the old gentleman? It's not me, I'm not a creator.
Differently. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Probably set a schedule early on, and it's a really tough question. I don't really.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah. What would you do different?
If you could do it all again, what would you do? Okay, so is there another question while they're thinking about this?
Do we have another question out there? Oh, wait, we got questions over here. The one thing you'd do differently. We'll come back to that.
How about
wait.
what is a mistake that you have made that you have learnt from? Mikey, you're nodding.
I think one mistake I did in the past was the hobby became work. Now this is going back to being fulfilled and sustainability, incorporating the content creation process into your lifestyle. Like eventually if you feel you're creating just because you need to and it no longer feels like a hobby, that's when burnout happens. And for a while I was burning out multiple times a year and I'm like, what can I do? Do I have to go to therapy? Like how does this work? And I find if you can keep things a hobby, and for example, for ant keeping, I would have an ant farm and just keep the ants and not film it for the channel. Just keep it, like enjoy the ants, and that way it still feels like a hobby, and that spark and that fire for ant keeping still is there. And so for all of you creators who, I think we're fed that do what you love and make what you love a career. That's all great, but the problem with that is it's also kind of unsustainable because eventually it becomes work, and that's when you burn out.
So just enjoy the ants. That's good advice.
Yeah, just do things and don't post about it.
So I've got another question right here. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you for sharing. I can really share the passion coming out from you guys. And my question is, because I'm from agency side, I deal with influencers and brands and advertisers. And that has been a huge topic, huge question from brands and advertisers is how much sales or conversion can I get, right? The ROI for spending with this influencer, and why do you think this influencer is suitable for me? In the past, it was really like, what kind of content they post. How do they look like? Are they good looking? Are they handsome? All these are really important. It's very, very, how do I say, shallow. But now it's deep dive into engagements, what are their credibility? What are kind of followers do they have? What kind of data do they have? Right, so now my question back to you is, while you are creating all this great content, you have great personality, great team around it, but what is the monetization here when brands ask you, promote my brand, push for my conversion? That's a very big balance that you have to create here. Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
So conversion, you want a sales conversion from influencer? Most likely, it's not the best way. You should know. But the good thing of getting an influencer to adopt a brand deal is the image. You got the marketing image for the product. So it actually empowers the product's image. So basically, when a brand wants to get like a KOL to promote their product, they will not think about I want a conversion of sales. It's more of a PR. It's a marketing tool. So I want this brand to look more of this aesthetic. That's why I get this influencer, because this influencer represents the aesthetic. That influencer has an engagement, okay, but you don't want to expect a certain quota, like certain like sales to hit. I mean, if you hit it, it's great. It's like a bonus. But the priority comes to the brand aesthetics and how the influencer and the KOL actually represents that brand. And then in the long run, it will propel that brand forward. And as everything goes, you need the consistency of that brand identity. And once that brand identity is getting stronger and stronger through the representation of all the influencers that the agency has chosen, then that brand garners the credibility of that identity, and people will naturally want to go and try it out and buy it because it's like legit, it's justifiable. So I think that's the power of getting influencers to represent a brand. But you have to choose. Yeah.
So, sorry, Denise. Yep, please.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I never thought of it that way. Yeah, that's so cool. I come from like the other side of content, which is live streaming, and I've actually spent the last year and a half really educating brands as to why live streaming is a place where you can market and promote your products or your campaigns and your brands. Because everyone was so used to, like Instagram, it's kind of like taking a photo. Everything that Dani has said essentially is on the, I would say, the mainstream social media platforms, but live streaming is still relatively new, and I think everyone can see that a lot of brands are moving more into live streams, and that's because authenticity is so crucial to viewers nowadays. Sometimes the most successful videos are the ones that are not pristine, not edited perfectly, but they're just taken with your phone, like as a selfie even, and live streaming really enhances that a lot. I've done several campaigns with several brands where all I'm doing is, maybe walking around their store or trying their product for the first time. And I give a really honest review about what I think of the products, the campaigns, and the viewers love that. It builds such a unique sort of relationship to the brand. And even now, when I'm not using, and I'm just using a mouse, or I'm talking about a mouse, they will immediately associate it to the brands that I work with closest, or the brands that they relate to the most. So if there are like any agencies here, I would really encourage also exploring that side of content creation as well.
Yeah, I would like to add, like, live streaming. If you're on sales conversion, live streaming is better because basically, like, the creator is actually promoting the product, taking the time to promote the product and to actually show how the product is like. I remember in China, there's this guy selling lipstick, and he earns so much money from that because he's just showing the lipstick that's like really good, and then all the ladies just like, oh, I want to buy it because it looks so good, So and of course the guy is also handsome and stuff like that, so it's like extra points. But the thing is that live stream can convert a lot of sales because people really want to see how it works. But but the other side of, like, if you want to do an influencer marketing kind of thing from like for Instagram and TikTok and stuff. It's more of the image. So yeah, both are very important. So live stream is definitely a way to go as well.
Some great answers. Now, we are, not technically, we are actually out of time. However, we are the last session of the day. And I get to say whether we go on or not. Should
Jasper,
we go on?
one more question back.
I think we should continue on.
Can we at least take one more question back here? 'Cause somebody had their
Absolutely, we
hand
can.
up.
But I'm going to have the one about the what would you do differently. Let's rephrase that. If you had bumped into your 16-year-old self, or if you walked out of the room and your 16-year-old self was there, what advice would you give them?
Stick at it. Like, yeah, be consistent. Because a lot of creators or people new that want to get into being creators, they'll make a bit of content and it'll go out there. It might get some views, but then they get sort of discouraged and then they just sort of stop making content. So yeah, be consistent, I think, and don't be discouraged if you don't go viral or if you don't. Yeah, so many people are like, oh, this one didn't hit, what I want it to be, so I'm just going to quit. But yeah, you got to kind of realize how much content you actually have to create. It's just a constant flow of content. People think you can just throw out one or two bits of content, and yeah, so consistency probably. Yeah.
So by my maths, this is 25 years ago for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. You need to be consistent. Going on what you just said. My channel, Lance Canada, didn't really take off till 7 years after I started posting. So imagine posting for 7 years with just a couple hundred views or 1,000 views or whatever, and not really making anything. And then finally, 7 years later, it kind of exploding. So you kind of have to be hard-headed and stubborn and just keep pumping out the content. But if I were to go to my old self when I first started, I think I would say, just ignore the naysayers. All of those who look at you and what you're doing, and they just think it's a waste of time. Even my parents were like, Michael, you're almost 30. Don't you think you're kind of old to be playing with bugs? I'm like, no, I love bugs. I love ants. One day. And, like today, I just booked my parents' flight to come stay at the house I built from basically ant farms and keeping ants, of all things. So it's just, life is kind of funny. You just kind of, it's so cliche, but if you follow your heart, the universe kind of conspires in your favor. And it just all works out in the end. It just takes a lot of time. So that's what I would have said to myself.
I think the ants need a round of applause for sticking with Mikey as well for 7 years.
Yes, thank you, ants. Yeah.
They didn't complain. They just kept going.
Yeah, they're the stars. There are millions of them.
Denise, you're probably. I think you may be. I know that 16 wasn't that long ago for you, but let's say you bumped into your 16-year-old self again. What advice would you give?
I would say that you will find your people. I think when I first started, there was a lot of people telling me that, oh, you don't swear, you're not gonna make it in live streaming, and I'm like, wait, why? Like, how does that define me? And me not swearing is just one of like the many different types of examples that you could possibly use for yourself. And I was worried at that time. I was wondering, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do live streaming. Maybe it's not the platform for me. But it turned out to be the only platform that I've actually been able to succeed in throughout my years of trying this whole content creation journey. So even if you feel like you don't have people that have your values or agree with your values, just know that you will find them. They will appear as long as you stay consistent as well. So yeah, and you just ignore the naysayers.
And don't swear.
No, you can if you want to. It's okay. This is just me. Like, I don't know why I don't.
It's very good. Dani?
I'm 16. What are you talking about? No, so when I was 16, I just started beatboxing like 14. So if I go back to my 16-year-old self, I would say like, I think what you guys said, like this is commonality, is to be consistent. So as an artist, artists have a problem to be consistent because they they only follow how they feel all the time. It's always through like how you feel. So like I would tell myself to be consistent and be patient and not be impatient. This is the most important virtue to succession actually. So yeah.
Fantastic. From the floor.
One more quick question here. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm a small, very, very small VTuber and content creator. And firstly, I'd like to ask your opinions on VTubers because they have such a huge community. The second question is the thought process, if you've had any, of creating your brand with your image or your face behind it. And was there ever a time where you thought, I'm going to create a brand, but I'm not going to have my identity behind it? Because as VTubers, you know, we create a brand and not show our face at all. Yes. So did you ever have a time where you thought, I want to create a huge brand, it's blown up, will it be different if I didn't show my identity?
Okay, can I answer? So I've got a channel where it shows my face and a channel where it's just my voice. And the most successful one over time has been the one that's just my voice. I just feel like channels, if you don't want to be on camera, that's totally okay. You might possibly have a longer shelf life. Just because, you know, like audiences are always growing up. You know, like in 3 years, like think about where you were just 3 or 4 years ago. Life was very different. High school kids use YouTube differently than, say, a college kid, than, say, a married person, than, say, you know, an older person. It is always changing, and unless the challenge is if you show your face, you have to adapt and grow with your audience and almost adapt to keep catering to them, unless you're constantly getting new audience. Like younger generation, and keep you know churning out the content to get new audiences. You know, it's going to be really hard. So if you just want to just not show your face, that is okay too. It's also a sustainable way to be a creator because you could be 80 and just it could be your voice, right?
So is this podcasting?
Podcasting?
Is that what we're talking? I mean, is audio?
Are you talking about YouTubing?
VTubing.
No, it's VTubing.
Oh, sorry.
As a virtual YouTuber.
Yeah.
Sorry, we didn't
What?
hear that bit.
It's okay.
Oh.
But maybe
I
I
thought
can
YouTube.
maybe I can talk a little bit about VTubing. Do you VTube, like, do you do it on Twitch? Oh,
Okay.
like either platform.
Can someone? I'm asking for a friend. I'm asking for a friend. What's VTubing?
Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe you want to explain what VTubing is?
Yeah, explain what VTubing is. We were talking about this a little bit earlier too, but would love to make sure we're all on the same page.
Please, would you mind
So to me,
lowering your face mask because we can't
VTubing
hear you.
Oh,
We
is
can't
it?
hear you.
A face reveal.
There you
VTubing is streaming or content creation while using another identity. So it's sort of like anime, where you could be anyone, you could do anything. It's you.
Yeah, it's like a virtual avatar sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so your different opinions on being a VTuber, on VTubers in general, and there are huge communities that are built behind their backgrounds or their origin stories, but also, your personal stories and personal thoughts of being a content creator and putting content out there with your face behind it or without your face behind it, and what was your train of thought when you started putting your face behind it or right before you made that decision?
Denise.
Yeah, no, I think everything that you said is still very relevant to VTubing. I didn't think about it when I started streaming. I didn't think of becoming a full-time live streamer when I started streaming, so I definitely would say faced the consequences of it now that, you know, people recognize my face and things like that. And I just want to like encourage you or reassure you that it's totally okay to do VTubing. And if you do that and if you're trying to grow, you just need to remember that, like in streaming, in content creation, people look at our expression a lot. You know, we talk about Ming, who just came up just now. He doesn't speak in any of his videos, but because he's so expressive, that's what makes him, you know, succeed and thrive. And VTubing is the total opposite of that, because it's very much reliant on your voice. So you just have to, and of course, some VTube models, they, you know, have like movements and stuff, but it still doesn't capture, I would say, that really nuanced details and expressions that a human being has. So I think what I've told other VTubers before as well is that you have to work a little bit harder to get your expression across to your audience. And if you're able to do that, then I'm sure you've seen many successful VTubers as well. But yeah, that's just like my general thoughts about it.
I have a first-hand like encounter. So basically, I have a friend in Poland. He is the biggest Twitch live streamer in Poland in history. So he is a VTuber. Nobody in Poland knows his face. Nobody, zero. I know how he looks like. I want to take a picture of him. He's like, no pictures, bro. I'm like, okay, fine. Like, you know, I would do a video. He will be the one videoing us. He's not the one. He's not going to be on the video. He might say something, you know, because his voice is super iconic. So when he says something, everybody know that that's the guy, you know. You can check him out on Twitch, EWRON. In Polish, it's called Evron. He does role-playing on Minecraft and also on GTA. And they do role-playing a lot. And they call it RP, right? So they do a role-playing and they're really immersive. And then the voice is very, very expressive. And you need to be very, like, you know, charismatic and then talk to the people. As long as you are interactive and you talk with your followers and you have, like, conversations with them during the role-playing as well. And then they will just tell you what to do and then you react. Yeah, it's tiring. But if you have fun with it and it motivates you and you find that this is, like, really fun, I think you should just go all out. Because I think, you know, if my friend can succeed to be the biggest live streamer without showing his face, then I think it's proven.
Okay, so we are definitely out of time, and the bar is definitely open next door. However, we're going to finish with one last question, and that is, you've got a minute each. What is the most exciting thing going to be happening for you in 2023?
Just keep making content, I think. That's another tough question. Because we're so just kind of consistent with what we do. We put out the same sort of content week after week. So just another year of big telling spooky stories and yeah, just being a content creator, I think. Yeah.
Mikey?
Yeah, so I'm really excited for Ants Canada in particular right now because we've just recently made 3 scientific discoveries, one of which might be a new ant, which we discovered just in my yard. Yeah, a new ant species. I want to name it maybe, I have to think of a name, in case it is, but the scientists are looking at it. We also acquired 33 hectares of land, that's 72 acres, and I want to turn it into a forest just for the ants. Protect the biodiversity in the Philippines because the Philippines has amazing ants. I mean, I found a new species in my yard, I think. And yeah, just apply permaculture, give back to the ants, possibly turn it into an eco park. Just really excited. Like the hobby just started as this little nerdy thing in my parents' house, and it's just grown into this unbelievable thing. And I am also excited about new products at antscanada.com. We're creating new ant farms and new ways for people to keep ants. And it's a great hobby, guys. Go check it out. Hey, Christmas is around the corner, and we have a new sale tomorrow, self-plugging. So yeah, just really excited about what's ahead for the Ants Canada channel.
Production team, can we get Adam and the Ants ant music for the end of this session, please? And then Dani might beatbox to it. Denise, what's coming up for you?
I'm really excited to elevate, I think, the content in the live streaming scene in Singapore. we're actually, like I mentioned just now, we're moving a lot more to experiences and events. Something that I do every December is something we call K-Miss, which is just a play on my name and Christmas. And every single stream we do giveaways. We do this big charity stream at the end of the year where all the money we raise goes straight to charity. And next year we're going to be doing some pretty big game shows, hopefully, in live streaming format. So just really challenging what live streaming can do and push for more of that. So hopefully we do all. Yeah.
Superb, wonderful. Dani, final word.
Next year, so I said I'm gonna do the EP, 5 songs. Each song have a music video, and the 5th song is for I'll just like dismantle the track and have many different like layers, variations of layers, and for the listeners to construct themselves. So they have their own version of the 5th song, and they'll be in Web3. And also, yeah, and
with Mikey singing on one as well.
Yeah, maybe can contribute a vocal. Yeah, so and apart from that, perform those songs, more higher level content creation. So it's like a higher level creative content creation that's not only revolving beatboxing, but like skits and things over it, featuring artists. And at the end of the year, next year, hopefully have like a concert with like local artists and collaborating with international artists. Yeah.
Live at CreatorWorld. streamed with Super Cat K and with Mikey singing and some ghosts turning up as well.
Super.
Ladies and gentlemen, look, this is one of those ones we could definitely go all night. So let's take the conversation to
the
next
bar.
door to Al Capone's, where the bar is open, ladies and gentlemen. But but before thanking everyone here, I want to thank you all for participating. It's always great to get questions from the audience. Please come back and do that again tomorrow. Tomorrow we have podcasting, we have some fantastic workshops. Jim's going to be back with me on stage. We have the marketing summit. We've got brands, like vans, brands, fans, and vans. I'm going to steal that. We have BBK Vines who's come all the way. Bhuvan Barma has come all the way from India, one of the biggest Indian creators of all time, and some great content. So please be back here again 9:30 tomorrow morning. But until that, Al Capone's is open now, and until that, thank you to Callan, to Mikey, to Denise, and to Dani, and to Jim, and to all of you. Thank you for day one of CreatorWorld.